Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today we are looking at the price of Theta. The last time I did a video, we were sitting at about $1.25, $1.27, and that was about 3 days ago. Today we are sitting at $1.35. Remarkable push, what we're witnessing here. And with this video, I just kind of want to, go back and look at memory lane, right? It's the beginning of the new year, just about. We're heading into the new year, and the first Theta video I had was right down in here, and it's just awesome that what we've seen since then is we're still not out of the woods yet, right? I mean, when you look at it, on the grand picture, I mean, that's just a little move. But look at that. It is a big move, but on the big scale, it is a little move. And I feel like it's going to turn into a much bigger move. And I've always felt that way. Basically, we are above this resistance. Remember back in the previous video, I said, it was on a Sunday, and I said we need to close above these candles right here. So we want to close above the bodies of these candles. And we did. And it's a good thing that we did, because now we confirmed the breakout. So basically that was on the weekly chart, right? So I just readjusted the line. So this line is what we really needed to get across. And look what happened after we broke this. So here's our resistance, resistance, resistance on the body of the candle. The weekly candle closed above all of these bodies. And I said, if that happens, watch out, because it could be a nice move. And look at this. We have a follow-through candle after the breakout candle. And that, my friends, is why I like to look at charts. Is because, when things line up, they don't always line up, right? But that's why you have different ideas and different probabilities. But it's nice to know that the main idea is the idea that is working. Right? And also, we have broken out of the long-term downward resistance line. So look at that. Look at that. Let me make sure it's perfect. Just about. So check this out. So not this candle right here. This was the important candle. This is probably one of the most important candles of 2021. Or I'm sorry, 2023. And because this candle right here broke above horizontal resistance, it closed above, and it also closed above the long-term downward resistance line, aka the bear market line, right? And then this candle, the new weekly candle, is trading above the previous candle, which is a good thing, which is exactly what we wanted to see, right? So now the question becomes, oh, well, what next, right? Well, what next? Well, to me, like I said, we're either in a third wave and we got much more to go, or we got a little pit stop coming up, or some consolidation. But to me, we really need to get up here. I want to see us get up here. Now, how we get there doesn't mean we're going to go in a straight line up, right? I mean, we can easily come down and retest these, previous resistance to make it the new support, because we got the breakout, but we never got the back test, right? Which is, it's not a big deal, but just to be aware, we could come back down and retest that $1.23, which actually would be bullish. and it's better to just get it over with, right? Now, the price doesn't have to do that. We can continue marching up, getting up to here, marching up again, and then continuing to go, and then that Wyckoff, finishing up that Wyckoff move. So, yeah, I think this is a good end of year development. The last 6 months has been amazing for the price of Theta, especially down in here when this channel identified a Wyckoff accumulation event. And this was a small Wyckoff. You can't see it because I'm on the weekly chart, but this was Wyckoff. And in this Wyckoff, we have a much bigger Wyckoff. So we have a small Wyckoff within a much bigger Wyckoff. And what Wyckoff basically means is an accumulation. And here's a perfect example of that accumulation. And basically, we were, developing it on this whole structure and this whole structure. So you can see here's the spring, here's the spring, here's the reaction, here's the reaction, and now we're waiting for this sort of consolidation in here before another pump higher. So the question then becomes, do we get that consolidation now, or do we get it about $1.65? So that's really, I don't know the answer to that. I would think we would get up here, somewhere up here, before pulling back, something like this, and then continuing to go. And that's just what my theory is, right? We can even come down, like I said, and back test this in an ABC, and then continue to go. And that's really what I'm thinking is a good possibility, right? And that would kind of be like a shoulder, a large head, and then another shoulder. And that would make sense from a Wyckoff perspective, from that patterns perspective, and then a continuation to the upside. So we're at $1.36 right now. This was the previous video I did, and we were sitting at $1.28. So this is going back to the very beginning. This is I think this is the first Theta video I ever did, and that was at 64 cents. And basically, this was my initial thought. I'm not going to get into the whole video, but basically we are right down at the very bottom, creating that Wyckoff spring, and then going into that second reaction. So I'm just going to press play for a moment. So this is where we are right here, and that's what I think could potentially happen is, a break of structure, probably a retest, and we really need to bull flag out of here. This right here would be the bigger Wyckoff pattern. Remember, I zoomed in right here on the small Wyckoff pattern. Now we're zoomed out on the bigger Wyckoff pattern. So the bigger Wyckoff pattern, we can see it bull flagging out here potentially, and then continuing to rock and roll to the upside. So that would be my main count. Now, is it going to break into new all-time high? I have no idea. But what I do know is a retracement is very, very likely. We haven't had a retracement. Look at this. We've had this massive move to the upside, a massive move to the downside, but things just don't keep going down, 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 down. It doesn't work that way. We have to have some type of retracement before going down, or we're just going to rock it to the upside and break out and complete the 5 waves, right? So it's hard to tell what it's going to do. I'm not predicting anything. All I'm saying is, look, we got to get back up into this area right in here. So I'm thinking between $4.24 and $8.66. That is step number 1. If we can break above that, if we can break above that box, then this is what I'm anticipating right here. So we take a Fibonacci retracement, we come all the way down here, contingent this is the bottom, then I want to see a 4.236 extension, and oh my goodness, that comes in at between, I want to say $68. So right now we're at 65 cents, 64 cents. I want to see it hit $64, and that would be a full Fibonacci extension. So we have to wait and see what happens. Let's see if there's any confluence with that if we take up the trend-based Fibonacci. So the trend-based, I'll put it here, I like to be conservative. It's the very top. Bring that back down. And what do we see? We see the 786 and the 886 coming in right in the same area. So I would suggest, if I was holding Theta, which I am, and we do break above the first green box. So if we break above this box, if we break above $9 to $9.50, then I'm going to be targeting between $40 and $65. So it's not going to be exact. You know, there is no exact target. There never is. It's just about how you want to exit your position, or, you know, whatever. So yeah, basically that was one of the first videos, and I still stand by everything I said. And zooming in, you could see where we were down in there and the depths of despair. And that's when a lot of people, you know, were very bearish, right? You know, especially on Bitcoin and the whole broader market. It felt like, you know, it was going to continue to go down. I was one of, I think, maybe one of the few channels that said, no, 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 this is a big deal here. This is a big Wyckoff accumulation event. And now we're sitting right about here, right about $1.35. So we are on track from what my initial statement was. And I still stand by that, like I said. So let's see, you know, it's like I said, we're not out of the woods yet. So let's see if we can continue to develop this, you know, further this retracement. And the retracement, remember, the retracement all started with right back down here, right at that 65 cent level, right in here. It all started with this miniature Wyckoff accumulation, which is, again, this example right here. And I pull that up here, and I'm basically, you know, we're sitting right here at above $1.35. And right in here, I believe, was that reaction of that spring. So zooming in, you can see here, right? You have this move to the upside, right? Same thing here. You have this move to the upside towards resistance. Then you have this secondary test in phase B, right? From this wick all the way down here, right? And then we came all the way back up in phase B for that other test of the resistance, right? Back up into here. And then what happened? Then we came all the way down into the spring. Same thing here. We came all the way down to the spring. And here's the best part. And this is what really gave me chills, is when the spring was complete. So let me zoom in now. You could see this is the spring phase, just like this here. And then if you notice right here, you can see right here the example, right? The accumulation schematic example broke below this, and it broke below this, right? It broke below both supports. And what happened when that happened? Everybody got extremely bearish, piled in the shorts, but at the same time, that, to me, triggered the Wyckoff accumulation. And that's when I'm like, okay, now it's going to start getting fun, because right now I think is a good time to start, you know, showing some bullish TA, because nobody really likes the constant negative, bearish narrative. You know, I don't mind it because I like it as accumulation. But I thought that was a good time to really start diving into the videos of Theta. And you could see right here, we broke below this resistance, all of these resistances, right? And same thing here on the example. This is what was supposed to happen. Then what happened? We quickly reversed out of here. And when we got that quick reversal out of here, I was like, okay, yep, this is gonna be pretty amazing, right? But I'm not gonna come out and be like, yeah, it's a for sure thing, because at the end of the day, you don't really know. Like I said, I don't ever predict anything, but I was pretty confident in that move. So, and remember, when this thing breaks, everybody gets bearish, but that's supposed to happen in order to fill the whale's pockets, right? If you're a big whale and you got $10 million and you want to buy Theta, you can't necessarily just go and buy it with $10 million. Good luck getting your order filled. What needs to happen is an influx of liquidity into the market. And the only way that happens is if this Wyckoff accumulation schematic plays out, right? Or something to that effect, where price breaks below support, causing an influx of liquidity, right? What happens when you break support? Right here. So just imagine we're on this candle. It's looking totally bearish, right? We're going down, 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 down. We're consolidating, and then boom, we break down again. What do you think happens? People go short. People sell, and they go short. And what happens when that happens? The liquidity pours in, the whales absorb all of it, and they go long. And that's what causes this reaction to the upside. And that's exactly what we have now. So now, you know, I just wanted to take, I don't normally do that, but I wanted to take a little trip down memory lane since it's the beginning of the new year, right? Just about. And just to kind of reflect from where we were back then to where we are now, right? So basically, from here all the way back up to here. And it's not a big deal, but it is a big deal. You know, it is a big deal because this is the start of something much bigger. And that's what I believe, right? So now we have completed, right? And remember, this was right here, a miniature Wyckoff. And we broke out and we got out of there. Now, let me zoom out. Now we're working on the much bigger Wyckoff, which is these lines up here, 1 and 2. And we just crossed the first line. So now the question becomes, what happens next, right? So, you know, again, this is our move up. This is our move up. This is our move down in secondary test B. Now, it's not perfect horizontal, right? Because this is a falling, sort of a falling Wyckoff pattern. But if you look at Theta Fuel, it is more of a classic Wyckoff pattern. And as you know, they're brother and sister, so they're going to follow each other. So basically, you know, you have your first in phase A, right here, phase A, you come up, and you come down, secondary test in phase B, boom. Then you come back up, right, matching up to this resistance. Same thing here, but not breaking it, right? Same thing here, matching up to this resistance, but not breaking it, right? And then what happens? In the example, you go down into your spring, and what happened here? Price came down into its spring. So you have a big Wyckoff pattern, right? You have a small Wyckoff pattern within a bigger Wyckoff pattern. And that's why I was like, okay, I'm double bullish here. And I'm going to go on the record saying this is what I think, right? And so I'm just, you know, I'm glad it worked out the way it's supposed to work out. So now, right, now where are we? Well, if you look at the example, we're all the way about right here. So just about right here. So, you know, according to this example, let me draw it here. According to this example right here, we want to come up a little higher, break this resistance, right? And then come all the way down and sort of make this triangle pattern, right? This triangle pattern, and then continue marching our way up in a monster move. If you think this move is big, just wait until this move. You haven't seen nothing yet, my friends. So I think the Theta community is in for a big treat. And not just Theta, but there's a lot of altcoins that are going to perform well. If you scour across the web, there's not a lot of people, you know, talking about Theta. I mean, I'm sure there's a few, but not really as far as I can see, not like, you know, Bitcoin and Solana and Matic and all, you know, XRP. You know, they got a big community and they're still struggling, right? Theta doesn't really have that sort of public, you know, spotlight for people like myself to blast it out and talk about it. And yet it's still one of the best performing altcoins back in the previous cycle. So, and you know what they call that? They call that a sleeping giant. And I think that's a good thumbnail for this video, the sleeping giant, right? Nobody knows it's there. And I think it's going to take a lot of people by surprise. So, but you know, like I said, is it going to break out a new all-time high? I don't know. The whole point, right? My very first video right in here, I wasn't calling for that. What I'm saying is I want to see a retracement first. And basically what a retracement is getting back up into these levels. So somewhere in these levels, right? And, you know, somewhere in there. And from there, we can reevaluate the situation. But until then, there's no need to know, like, are we going to break new all-time high? Well, at this point, it doesn't matter because we have more upside to go. We're only sitting at $1.35. So we still have another 4x to 5x before that topic even comes up for discussion, right? So let's get there first, and then we can entertain that idea. You know, and I'll talk about what I think is going to happen. But basically, you know, all I did was follow this pattern. That's all I did. I'm not a genius. I don't know what's going to happen. But what I did know is I just put two and two together. I said, okay, we have this first test. We have the second test. Back up to resistance, back up to resistance. We have the spring. What did it do? It broke below secondary test phase B. What did this do? It broke below secondary test phase B. Then what happened? We shot up. What happened? We shot up. So it's not like I predicted it. It's not like I knew it was going to happen. But that's why I like charts, because then you can identify the patterns that are playing out and sort of go by it. Now, they don't always play out, right? And in which case you have to have different ideas and different possibilities. And I can't remember, but I sent a tweet out saying, you know, there's a red path, a green path, and a purple path. And I thought, you know, we're going to take probably the purple path. And right now we're still following the green path, right? So one of the videos I thought I said, a green path with a purple twist, you know, and that's what I think is on the horizon. If you don't know what I'm talking about, basically the red path, I tweeted this out. I said, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we go. Obviously, that looks to be invalidated. Why? Because we broke above this support. The second idea was to say, okay, the purple idea was to say, okay, we have a shoulder, we have a head. Now let's meet up with this $30 area, then pull back for another shoulder and then continue higher. Well, that idea doesn't really work anymore either, because we broke above this resistance, right? So now we got to look at the green idea, but we could still get that left shoulder, but like I said, a green path with a purple twist. And that's where I think that Wyckoff accumulation comes into play. Basically, you know, this is your accumulation. You come up here, then you come down in your spring, you take it out, then you come back up, you take these two out, and then you consolidate in a bull flag, and then you continue higher. I think this is where we are, or this is where we're approaching. So, to me, the question is this. There's number one, there's number two. The question is, here we go. So this is idea number one. Says we get up here, we break this, we continue to go up, not in a straight line. Obviously, you're going to have pullbacks and things like that. But nonetheless, we get up here, then we pull back, we back test this area, boom, consolidate in here, and then blast off. And then we reach our retracement levels. And to me, that would be some type of fourth wave, right? So you have 1, 2, and then all of this would be 3, 4, and then we go up for our fifth wave of some sort, right? So that would be idea number one. So idea number two, it's the same kind of thing, but instead of breaking this line, basically what we do is we stall out here, maybe between $1.35 and $1.55, right? We stall out. We do the same type of bull flag, back test type of thing, and then we continue to march higher. So it's basically the same thing. The difference is one of them breaks this high, one of them doesn't. So pick which one you want. I think it doesn't matter. To me, it doesn't matter. Because, you know, going back all the way right here, I've fully believed we have a big retracement coming. So if I take a measurement from that 65, 64 cent area, and I come all the way up to a retracement, you know, that's sitting at over 600%. So, you know, not financial advice, but, you know, capitalizing on 600% is a good thing to do. And I'm still holding my Theta. I don't think, you know, I think this is just a little blip in the whole grand thing. Now, when you zoom all the way out, you know, it's barely any type of move. And here's the cool part about it is this right here was also a Wyckoff accumulation event. So let me show you. So you can see, and that's what sort of gave me the confidence of what we're doing, is because it sort of matched up the same way, right? Where you have that first test, you know, secondary test in phase B, you come up here without breaking the high, and then you come down in your spring, and then look what happened. Right there, C19, we sell off, we took out this liquidity, and then quickly reversed to the upside. So that was a classic Wyckoff accumulation, and that is exactly what is happening here. So, you know, it's basically the same type of thing that's happening here. And which means what? Well, look what price did. It was consolidating in this box and it broke out. We're still in the box, so we still got a long way to go, which is, you know, a good thing, right? So, you know, you could see here we have that first test, secondary test in phase B, come up, you come up. Then you go into your spring, and then you have that reaction, and now we're getting the reaction, right? The reaction is not going to take, the next day or even a week. It could take the next, 6 months, right? But the point is we are on the right track, and, that's what we want to see. Now, looking at the 3-day chart, we do have sort of in this doji candle here, which says, hey, maybe we do this. So you could see the range we were in right here. We're in a range. We break out of the range. Then we create a new range, and now we're breaking out of this range. The question becomes, do we continue, or do we come back and retest the top of this range before continuing? But both ideas say this one goes up too. The difference is how they go up, right? But anyways, as far as I can see, everything has been stellar. Everything has been on track. Everything has been according to plan, and I intend for that to continue to play unless something drastic happens that, a curveball. And crypto, you keep your head on a swivel because it's crypto. Anything can happen. 24 hours can make a big difference in what happens, right? So let's talk about worst case scenario. Worst case scenario for me would be, obviously breaking this low. It could still happen. I don't think so. But for me, it would be to backtest 85 cents. If we come back and do something like this, where we come up, right, and then we sort of flag and flag and flag, and then kind of come all the way down here, find support, and then continue higher, that's definitely a possibility, right? And that would be a big wave 1, and then this will be a wave 2, setting us up for a major wave 3. And what that would be, well, that would still be the purple path, right? That would still be on track, which is in, the shoulder. Here's your head, and then here's your right shoulder, right? And then here's your neckline right in here. So, this is your inverse head and shoulders. And that could still happen. We have this big move, but we haven't had any pullbacks. We have had miniature pullbacks in the subwaves, but we haven't had a counter wave of this main wave here. So I always say take a wave, so this whole wave, and you cut it in half, about 50%. You come all the way back down, retest that 50% Fibonacci or 618. And then, you also develop the right shoulder, and then you break out, right? So that wouldn't really technically be following the Wyckoff pattern anymore, but it would still be Wyckoff in its own way, right? And this still would be incredibly bullish because we have our left shoulder, we have our head, but look, we don't have our right shoulder yet, right? We have our left, we have our head, but we don't have our right shoulder. And we could still get a right shoulder. Now, if this thing continues to march up, then at that point, I'm not going to think this. I'm going to think sideways and then continue. So just have to wait and see. But I'm just warning you, if we come all the way back down, and I know it doesn't, and know it seems crazy, right? I mean, we're sitting at almost $1.40. Isn't it nuts to think that Theta can come all the way back down to that mid 80 cent region and still be considered bullish, right? Or actually probably up in here somewhere. So maybe 85 cents is a little far-fetched, but definitely around that dollar mark You know, there's a lot of confluence in this, let's see here, in this dollar. See all this support in here? And then you just take that line and drag it across here. So a lot of price action in here. So we broke through it. We could still come all the way back down to $1, right? Have a health, and it would be healthy. It would be considered extremely healthy. So, you know, we have a bullish wave up. You know, it wouldn't be out of the question to look for a beautiful, healthy pullback that gets us back down here, you know, and sort of develops this shoulder in here, just like in here, right? And then your neckline kind of would be like this, right? It would kind of be like this, sort of a rising neckline, right? You break out, you come down your back test, and then you continue higher. So there's a lot of different ways, right? There's a lot of different ways it can get up here. But the whole point of what I'm saying is, no matter what happens, I still believe at some point we will get back up here. There's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of different ways it can get here. But the whole idea is it getting here, right? You know, if you're on your way to the beach or to the mountains, you know, there's a couple different ways I'm sure you can get there. You know, obviously people take the fastest way, but with charts, TA, it likes to take the windy road, the more scenic road, the more unknown road, right? The less traveled road. And, you know, whatever road that may be, to me as a hodler, it doesn't matter. Who cares, right? If we come all the way back down here and then go, it's going to suck, but you know what? It is what it is. Or if we develop this right shoulder, you know what? It is what it is. And then the more bullish thing would be to break this high, right? That first idea, and then sort of consolidate like this, and then continue to get up here, right? And to me, that would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Something like that. So, nonetheless, this is our target, back up into the retracement levels. And to give you an exact target, all I got to do is take a Fibonacci retracement and pull it all the way down. And you could see a 618 retrace up to the 702. Perfect. And that's a perfect match. Now, this is log scale, right? If we go to the linear scale, it's different. So the linear scale target, 618 retrace, would be, in a good way, it would get us up even higher, up into the 618, about that $10 mark. So between, I would say between $8 and $10 on a retracement. The linear scale, if that is what the scale it's following, or between $4 and I would say probably that 9, 8. I would say between $5 and $9. It would be that initial retracement, and if it's even more bullish than that $10. But if we start breaking above 11, and better yet 13, then I have no question in my mind we are breaking into new all-time highs, and we are on our way to that $26, $27 target. So we're sitting at $1.35. We can be looking down the barrel of a $27 Theta, and then a full Fibonacci extension, right, would get us into that $65 area. So still got a long ways to go, but at the same time, we are on the right track. And at the end of the day, what did it start with? It all started down here, right down there. And being able to identify that before it happened, you know, in hindsight, it's easy. You can see it always in hindsight. But to discover it on the day it happened, it's a really good feeling, because it gives you confidence in continuing to, search for answers. And that's what we're all trying to do. As an investor, you're searching. You're trying to figure things out, right? People who watch technical analysis videos on assets they own doesn't necessarily mean they're trading. What it means is they're trying to figure out what could potentially price do over the next 3 months, over the next 6 months, and taking that into consideration, not following it as financial advice, but to take it into consideration and to, adjust and modify as needed. But to me, the best thing anybody can do is to just simply hodl and continue to accumulate and hodl. So there you go, guys. I think that will do it for this video. And by the way, here's Theta Fuel, and I still feel the same exact way for Theta Fuel. I mean, a lot of people seem to feel like Theta Fuel will outperform Theta. And, I tend to agree with that on the front of, from, not talking fundamentals, right? But from a technical perspective, Theta Fuel, I believe, has a much smaller market cap than Theta. So if that's the case, then theoretically, Theta Fuel in percentage terms can far outperform Theta itself, right? Because what's good for Theta is good for Theta Fuel, right? So if Theta has, a certain market cap, I'm not sure what the market cap is at the moment, but Theta Fuel would definitely, in percentage terms, outperform Theta if that's the case, right? And which it is. So, and looking at Theta Fuel, it's the same thing, right? So here's our Wyckoff accumulation. You have this first wave, same thing, first wave, second wave down, come right back up without breaking this high, come right back up without breaking this high. Then we go into our spring phase. Right? And now look what's happening. We're somewhere right in here. Theta Fuel is lagging behind, right? I believe Theta is somewhere above this wave. It's above this this wave here, and trying to get above this wave. So for Theta Fuel, it's barely getting above this wave, which is a good thing, because that means it has much more potential moving forward, right? So basically, for Theta Fuel, I want to see price get a little higher and essentially break these resistances in here. Let me actually put it on the weekly chart. There we go. We get up here, we consolidate, and then we continue to rock it to the upside, just like Theta, right? Now, we can come up here, develop this right shoulder. Now, the interesting thing is Theta Fuel also has a left shoulder, right? So you have this shoulder, you have this head, right? Let's get back up to what? 6 cents, right? We're only at, not even at 5 cents, right? 0.048. So let's get up to 0.065, somewhere in there, and then pull back for that right shoulder, and then consolidate this right here. So we get up here, consolidate, and then continue to rock it to the upside. So yeah, I'm still very bullish on both assets. Now, the cool thing about Theta Fuel is it already broke its long-term downward resistance line. Check this out. So, it's not too pretty, right? But, something like that, where we already broke, above the downward resistance line, and we're hanging out above it, right? So this basically was your supply line, right? Your supply line. And, you know, if you were to say draw like a channel, it's not a perfect channel, but if you were to draw a channel, this would be your supply line, and then you come all the way down, and then that bottom line would be your demand line, right? But looking at it from a channel perspective, look at that. You know, we have this consolidation in here. We have a major breakout, right? And then what happened? We formed a healthy pullback, right? So look how impulsive, look at this candle right here. Look how impulsive that is. Look how impulsive this is, right? Very impulsive. And then look at this. This is all choppy, choppy, choppy. That's how you know the trend is continuing to march higher. That's how you know, right? If we were to impulse down like this, then that would be kind of scary, right? But we're not. We're in this base channel, right? We're in this base channel and we're oscillating, correcting. This is a correction. And then now look what's happened. We broke above that correction. So it's on. It is on, right? Now we still have, of course, horizontal resistance, right? Theta broke its horizontal resistance. So I want to see. So basically the big plan for Theta, the ultimate, well, not ultimate, but the big plan moving forward, our first order of business is to get above 7 cents. Basically to get above this close right here. So this is the highest weekly close in a long time. Now if we can work our way up here and close above on a weekly scale, then boom, we basically confirmed the much broader retracement. Now I feel like we will retrace, right? But remember, Theta has to close above $1.65, $1.66 to confirm the retracement. So we still haven't confirmed it, but we did break above 2 major areas. And for Theta, we broke above 1 major area, and we're still working on this area here. So let's break above that, back test, consolidate, bull flag, whatever you want to call it, and then continue to get back into these retracement levels back up into here. So and that's sort of how I'm seeing it, and that's basically Theta and Theta Fuel in a nutshell. So where would that be? If I pull a Fibonacci retracement all the way back down, right about there. And remember, this is linear scale. We're looking at about 47 cents. Between 47 and 60 cents for a retracement. Now, if we get above 60 cents, I mean, I think we have a really, really good shot at getting up to $1.20, $1.30. So if we break 30, if we close, so in other words, if the weekly candle closes above 60 cents, right, which is right here, if we close above that, then I'll be looking for this, $1.20, $1.26. And then, you know, again, if we do a full Fibonacci extension, that gets us up to about $3 and some change. So, you know, we look at that. We're sitting at 4 cents, and we're sitting over here talking about $3, right? So from 4 cents to $3, that's a big move. So from where we are now up to there, wow, that's over a 6,000% move, right? So you do the math on that. It looks pretty good. But like I said, I'm not trying to talk about all-time highs or big major targets. But what I am talking about, the first order of business is to get through the retracement levels. And to me, a more conservative retracement level would be 21 to 30 cents. So that is my target, 21 cents. Well, first target would be 15 cents and then 21 cents. So let's get all of this worked out in here, all of this resistance in here. We got to bust through that. We got to consolidate as or back test or both. And then we can start working our way up to that 28, 21 cent mark. And then from there, we'll reevaluate. So there you go, guys. Nothing's changed. I've been bullish from all the way down here. So let's see what happens. Let's see how this is going to continue to go down. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great new year, and thank you for watching. If you want, leave a like, a comment, and maybe consider subscribing. And don't miss future updates, because, you know, like, crypto can change on a dime, and, you know, things can happen for the better or for the worse. And I'm here to just sort of go through all of it, and in the lens of not necessarily a trader, but through a hodler, right? Most people in crypto are investors. I'm an investor. I'm a hodler. But I also like to look at TA, right? So moving forward, I think we're in a very good position. You know, we still got some work to do, but I think we're going to continue marching our way up. So it'll be an interesting year. 2024 is literally right around the corner. Now, when January hits, a lot of times the market sells off for tax purposes. For example, if you have these big millionaires, right, who don't want to sell in 2023, because if they sell, like, let's say they sold today, they sold $1 million. Well, guess what? Now they have to pay capital gains tax in the 2024 tax return, or 2023 tax return. So what they do is they'll wait. They'll wait until January, and then they'll sell their bag, right? And then they'll sell their bag. Well, maybe not all of it, but for some, to cover, number one, cover their tax obligations, and number two, they're trying to basically buy themselves time, because if they sell now, right, you have to pay taxes next year. But if they wait until January, then they have a whole nother year to have to pay those taxes. So, you know, those millionaires and billionaires, they're on a different level. So they have it all worked out on their plan. So just be cautious. January can be a big dumpy month, or it could be a big pumpy month, or a mixture of both. So if we do get a pump, right, and then a dump, you know, we can sort of see this inverse and head and shoulders start to really form and, you know, break out. So we'll continue to monitor it and see what happens. But until next time, thank you for watching. I will catch you on the next one. Cheers.